Someone again brought up the matter of Tina's tail. Tony never realized that the issue of full tail versus no tail could be such a controversial one.
I definitely think you ought to cut the tail.
Why?
Because you're spoiling the breed of the dog. The dog demands the tail be cut.
The dog demands?
Well, I mean the breed of the animal.
I see.
So
What do you mean by the breed?
Well, this is a wire hair. And all wire hairs have a short, clipped tail. And this is the only one floating around in New York City with a long tail.
You're spoiling the breed. All wire hairs have their tails clipped. You're spoiling the breed of the dog by not clipping its tail. Its appearance, at any rate. It isn't standard for a wire hair to have a tail waving in the breeze. It isn't right for a wire hair to have a tail waving in the breeze.
I don't think it's very good to have their tails clipped, cause I think that they have enough of a tail, but if it gets too long, like when it's sad, I think, doesn't it go under their feet? Well, if it goes under their feet, it may drag along the ground, it may get dirty. And I know you can't clip it off and wash it, then hang it back on again.
I don't believe in clipping dogs' tails.
Why not?
Because they're born with those and they have a right to them, and why shouldn't they have them? Wagging the tail is smiling, and why take their smiles away from them? The wag of a dog's tail is a smile.
Tony's final decision was to leave Tina with a smiling tail. Tina gradually felt at home in Tony's apartment, but Tony's early plans for home life with the dog didn't seem to work out as he had expected. He had tried to train Tina to curl up at his feet after dinner, but it was only after Tony was comfortably settled in bed for the night that Tina wanted to curl up on his feet. And so, with Tina in bed with him, Tony reflected that at least he wouldn't have to train Tina to bring his slippers in the morning. She had chewed them up. It was not only at night that Tina was getting away. One day, she dragged him to a nearby hotel. Tony found out why. The place was full of dogs.
These are obedience-trained dogs working toward degrees. And the first degree that you get in the novice classes is a CD degree, which means companion dog. The next degree is a CDX, which means companion dog excellent. And the next degree is utility dog, which, of course, that's like receiving a college diploma. I'm Mrs. Gordon Young, and I'm president of the Poodle Obedience Training Club. And this is Mrs. Harding.
An obedience training club for dogs. It suddenly occurred to Tony that schooling might not be a bad idea for Tina. But where could he enroll a dog without a pedigree? He went back to the shelter for homeless animals for advice.
I have some problems with my dog.
Well, we have what we hope is a very good answer to this. The ASPCA has training classes that they hold on Tuesday nights down at the Washington Irving Gymnasium. And you can take your dog down there, and he can learn how to walk, to heel properly, how to come when you call him, and how to stay in one place.
What do I do? Do I just take him down there and leave him on Tuesday night?
No, in fact, the whole theory of our course is that we train you to train your dog. So we put you on the floor, we explain to you what to do, and then from then on, you train the dog.
And so Tina and Tony went to school.
For graduation, you know, your dogs are going to have to do a 1-minute sit-stay and a 3-minute down-stay. So you are only allowed to give one stay. If you have to give twice, that is failing according to AKC rules. Just give your hand signal and give your stay command and leave your dogs. Are everybody ready? Stay. One command, and they're supposed to hold that position for 1 minute. Stay. Well, that would be failing, of course, but you've got a long way to go yet. Now, last week, for the first night, you were allowed to say the word sit when the dogs came to a halt. Now, tonight, I don't want to hear the command. I will say halt, you say nothing. But if the dog doesn't sit, spank him down and then pat him with the same hand, giving praise. All right, ready? Forward, my heel, good, fellow. Now, no command, halt, spank, pat, down. All right, just watch over there, will you? All right. Forward. Mike. Heel. Good fellow. Halt. Don't say anything. Just stand.
After a few sessions, there was considerable improvement in Tina's deportment. Tony even bought himself a new pair of slippers. It was then that Tony's girlfriend suggested that since Tina was going to school, she ought to be properly groomed. Tony wasn't too keen on the idea, but they looked up the advertisements. Grooming and boarding, air-conditioned, doctor in attendance, East 67th Street, by appointment only.
Good afternoon. May I help you?
Yes, I'm Mr. Schwartz. I called in.
Oh, yes, Mr. Schwartz. You have Tina. You have an appointment to have her bathed and clipped. Will you have a seat, sir, and I'll call the groomer out.
Fine.
In a few minutes, Tony brought Tina to the groomer.
I brought my dog here. I hope you can do something with her. Could you tell me whether you could take this dog and do anything with her?
Oh, I think we'll be able to fix her up for you real nicely. The main thing is, how do you want her clipped? I mean, like a show dog or just like a regular pet?
Well, my friend told me to bring her here and get her clipped and whatever you'd recommend.
Well, I'll explain it to you. The show clipping method is to strip it down. That takes longer and it's more expensive. But that's done by hand. Now, the other way is to do it with the clippers. That's faster, it doesn't take as much time, and it's cheaper, too.
Yeah. And what will you do to her?
Well, we will take her down on the body. We'll leave her nice and smooth on the body. The legs will be left full, just a little bit of trimming done on them. The tail will be shaved, will be plucked, and the head we'll try to accentuate, make it look long and lean, which is the real terrier head. We'll leave a nice mustache and eyebrows on her, and the ears will be trimmed. And we'll do her toenails and her teeth, bathe her. Well, she'll be a dog that you'll be proud to take on the street. She'll look real sharp.
When Tony called for his dog later in the day, he wouldn't have even believed it was her, except that she recognized him. He took her over to his girlfriend to see what she thought.
She's different. She's a different dog.
Everybody had to hear about it. She got on the phone.
She's different. She's a different dog. But the longer you look at her, to be objective, she's gorgeous. She's absolutely gorgeous. The brown in her is just beautiful. But her face, I'm so sad about it. Where did you see her? I didn't know what to do. I really wanted to cry. I think he cut too much off her head, though. Yeah. Silky. Like little silk things, and they stand up. And she's like a wrinkle in her forehead when she stands her ears up. But I can hardly wait for the hair to grow on her head. I think he took off too much, frankly.
The newly groomed Tina continued at school and was graduated with high honors. And gradually she and Tony began to settle down to a kind of tranquility. But then one day, Tina refused to eat. She behaved strangely, walking around the apartment in circles, licking the floor. Tony rushed her to the veterinarian.
From examining your dog, it appears that she has a false pregnancy, or technically a pseudocyesis. This occurs in people, and many folks feel that such a thing does not occur in dogs. However, it is very common, particularly so in city dogs. She hides in closets and under the bed and makes a nest. If there are dolls or toys about, she accepts these as her puppies and nurses them and hides them and fondles them and so forth. And it's really a strange syndrome. We have been able to treat this very successfully from two aspects. From the hormonal aspect, by giving female hormones. The psychic aspects have been brought under control very, very nicely with these newer tranquilizing drugs that they're using in people now, such as Milltown, Equinol, etc.
With the miracle of Milltown, Tina was soon restored to normalcy. There was no litter of imaginary puppies to care for. In the light of what we've heard, Tina has not made life simpler for Tony. Why does he put up with him? Why does anyone want to bother with a dog? Well, ask anyone who owns one.
Even though they're in a lot of trouble in the beginning when they're young, as the years go on, they mean so much to you that you forget all of the trouble when they were puppies. They are so wonderful. They eventually become just like a member of the family.
I love it. I mean, I didn't really mean to get one in New York, but well, one of those days I just decided to get one. I mean, no particular reason. It's a lot of work. Have to walk him 3 times a day, and it's quite a headache, but I think it's worth it.
You don't own the dog owns you. But a great many compensations. You have love and affection, something you never had before.
They're simpler to relate to at times than people. When you just want love and warmth and affection, they're there to give it to you.
I feel that the animal is part of me. I really do. I don't consider doing anything for a little animal trouble. Look at that. Look at the way he's behaving now. Isn't that all worth the little trouble that you might go to? And the longer you have them, the more you wonder how on earth you did without them.
Oh, they're worth every hour of trouble that they ever give you, and more.
There's no question but that living with a dog presents problems and struggles. But so does living with humans. But what about the dog? He's been pushed and pulled, clipped, trained, patted and yelled at. Why doesn't he just bite his master and be done with it? Well, for that, you'll have to ask the dog.
You have been listening to the CBS Radio Workshop and A Dog's Life, as shared and recorded on a portable recorder by Tony Schwartz, with narration written by Elliot Gruskin, narrated by Ralph Bell, and produced in New York by Paul Roberts. This is Dick Noel inviting you to listen again next week when, from Hollywood, the CBS Radio Workshop presents Heaven is in the Sky, an actuality broadcast of the tragedy of the Pacoima school disaster in which a disabled DC-7 fell into a crowded schoolyard.